Okay, so many of you guys wanted the next part of this story, and honestly, I don't blame you. A lot of people want to know what happened between me and my lawyer, and I'm just going to tell you guys straight up, it is very sus. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story takes place back, like I said earlier, when I was in high school. I had to hire a lawyer because I got into some legal trouble with a workplace that I was at, and well, let's just say one thing led to another. If you haven't seen part one, all I'm going to say is that we basically ended up kissing. Yes, I actually kissed my lawyer. I don't know what to think of that, but to be honest, it's pretty weird. Going on from there though, I remember basically what ended up happening was, since my lawyer had all the information she needed, she ended up actually, funny enough, messaging me the next day. She ended up messaging me, oh, like, okay, so next time we meet up, we're gonna meet up back at my place, which is pretty odd because, like, I don't know how many lawyers invite you to their own home, but at the same time though, I wasn't really comfortable with it. Me thinking I should bring a parent along like I did the first time would be a good idea, but at the same time though, she kept telling me, your lawsuit's confidential, so like you can't really just tell anyone, including your parents. So I was kind of weirded out, but obviously since I was in legal trouble, I needed to actually make sure that I went to go and talk to this lawyer. I ended up the next day actually getting everything together and basically going to go see the lawyer. Before my parents dropped me off though, they ended up asking me, Bubba, do you not want us to come with you? I ended up saying no, like it's gonna be okay, like don't worry about it, when in reality, to be honest, I didn't really know what to do. Anyways, I ended up walking up to the doorstep to my lawyer's house, and when I looked at her house, she lived in a really good home. Like no joke, she had a really nice big house. And basically I ended up going inside her house, and she opened the door for me, of course, and when she saw me enter in, she was looking at my butt. Yes, very odd of this lawyer to do, but yeah, basically she was staring at my peach, and I have no idea why. To be honest, like I said earlier, I was only in high school. I didn't really have much developed, I guess, in some way, but it was pretty weird. Going on from there though, I remember she offered me to sit in her living room, and that's what I did. I just sat there looking around the place thinking, wow, lawyers make a lot of good money. But for me, watching Suits a lot, I guess that's kind of just expected from a lawyer. Anyways, as I was looking around, one thing I realized is that there was a family photo. Now, this is not my first time, doing it with a mother, but that's a story for another time. But like I said earlier, I saw a family photo, and when I walked up to it, I was taking a closer look. And as I was looking at it, I remember the lawyer ended up coming up behind me saying, oh, like, don't worry about that. That's my, like, ex-husband. Ex-husband is what I said. And when I looked at her hand, I realized her ring was still on. I ended up pointing out the ring saying, but you still wear your ring even though he's your ex-husband? She looked at me in kind of like a panic, and she's like, oh, like, no, that's not the case at all. Like, I think you're just confused. Anyways, let's get straight to your court case. And then basically me and her, we ended up sitting down. When we sat down, I remember I was going through everything with her, basically just, trying to tell her the whole story, basically how it's not my fault I got fired when it's someone else's problem and all this stuff. If you guys didn't understand what happened, just go watch part one, like I said earlier. And basically she ended up looking at me saying, okay, so basically what we can do is we can just say they fired you over slander. And going on, I just want to know, what's your shoe size? Wait, what is what I said? She wanted to know my shoe size for some reason, and I was really weirded out. But I ended up telling her I was a 9.5, and then she looked at me saying, oh, so like, you have decent sized feet. Wait, what? Is what I said. I was so confused, but honestly, I kind of just let it go. And then I remember when I was writing down some things on a piece of paper for like my statement that I wanted to tell, she ended up putting her hand on my hand and made it kind of like look like a romantic scene from a movie. I didn't know what to think. So I remember I looked at her saying, okay, yo, you need to calm down. Like, seriously, like we shouldn't do this again. I remember she looked at me and she's like, wait, why? Like, are you like embarrassed of me or something? And then I looked at her and literally told her to her face, you are my lawyer. She kind of looked at me awkwardly. And to be honest, I think that was kind of like a major turnoff for her, so she ended up just not saying anything and just doing her job, which I mean is a good thing, but at the same time kind of awkward. Anyways, from there, I remember basically I kept writing out my statement that I need to finish, and then she ended up going upstairs. She went upstairs and left me alone in her dining room table, which is kind of awkward, but at the same time I guess it makes sense, privacy. And then right at that moment, I remember I get a text from my mom saying, oh, like, is everything going good, Bubba? I told her everything was going just fine and how I'm just, finishing up everything and stuff like that and how I'm almost done. But then I remember at that moment, the lawyer ended up coming downstairs, except she was wearing something a bit more, how do I put this? Too much. I remember I was looking at her and I was staring at her cherries, and I'm not gonna lie, I did get bricked up. So me being bricked up in her dining room table and me knowing that she wants me, I didn't really know what to do. So I remember I looked at her and said, okay, like, listen, I don't know what you're trying to do. And then right at that moment, smack. She ended up kissing me right away, and me dropping my pencil on the ground, I was like really shook. She realized I was like, you know, bricked up, and she ended up grabbing my eggplant. And yes, one thing I will say is that me and her, we ended up actually going up to the bedroom and we ended up doing the devil's tango. Yes, I literally did it with my lawyer. Don't get me wrong, I was super embarrassed and weirded out from it, but at the same time though, I didn't really think anymore, because you know, when your hormones take over, and me being a dumb teenager, let's just say I ended up basically thinking with my eggplant more than with my actual brain. Going on from there though, I remember that entire thing happened, and she looked at me very awkwardly afterwards, and she's like, okay, now that that's out of my system, let's go back to work. We ended up going back downstairs, and me, as I'm putting on my pants again, someone knocks on the door. I didn't know who it was, so I remember I decided to walk down the stairs and answer the door for her, and when I did, instantly I recognized the kid from a family photo. It was her son. Now, me thinking no one else lived in that house was basically a wrong idea, and I ended up saying, oh, like, hey, your mom's helping me out with like work and stuff for a lawsuit I have. And then I remember the kid just looked at me kind of oddly and saying, aren't you like a teenager? I remember I ended up like basically explaining my situation, and he ended up laughing, and funny enough, me and him got along. But as me and him got along, I remember his mom ended up basically walking up to the son saying, oh, like, weren't you supposed to be in college? Like, what's going on? Oh, I got off early, is what he said afterwards. And I remember he ended up walking away. But as he was walking away, one thing he realized is that he ended up going to the bathroom upstairs, and he saw that there was a condom, or a rubber, I should say, in the bathroom trash can. And let's just say he ended up coming downstairs saying, Mom, can I talk to you? Him and his mom, aka my lawyer, ended up going back upstairs, and me, I'm just writing my statement as fast as I can to get out of that place. But then let's just say the guy ended up coming back downstairs, looking at me and saying, I think you should leave. I ended up standing up, putting on my backpack and saying, okay, that's fine with me. And I ended up actually just leaving the door. And once I left and walked out the door, all I heard was yelling. Yelling, yelling, yelling. And one of the things he ended up saying was, I can't believe you do this to dad again. Oh, snap. Honestly, I had no idea what was going on in that house, nor did I want to know. So I remember I ended up just calling my mom saying, hey mom, can you like come pick me up? And basically she ended up coming down, picking me up, and I went straight home. When I got home, my mom was asking me questions like how was everything and stuff. And one thing she actually mentioned was, Bubba, why is your hair so messy? No reason, is what I ended up telling her. And yeah, let's just say the next time in this story, when I have to go actually to the courtroom with this lawyer, her son ended up showing up and things got really, really bad. But we'll save that for another time. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And like I always say, follow for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.